Somebody asked me about the Tower of Babel story in the Bible, and it's a short one. I've done a video on it long ago, and I talked a lot about it. Let me go ahead and update that, though. I'm going to respond to the person. The Tower of Babel story's in chapter 11 in Genesis, and it's only 9 verses. It's only 9 sentences long, so it's very short, but it's also kind of weird. It's also the last chapter in the Bible that was the old style. There's a different style. I want to address that a little bit. I get comments from people sometimes telling me, no, they're not different styles. It's all one. Those are Christians. When you look through this, you're going to see that there's different styles, different authors. And if you say, no, there isn't, go talk to so-and-so about it. I'm going to say that neither you nor that person knows. That's the blind leading the blind right there. Watch. You see it for yourself. You don't listen to somebody else tell you it's there or not. But you have to be able to process it. Not many people are going to, so if you can't see it, it just might not be for you. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. Okay, very quickly before going through the verse, I want to address that a little bit. The differences. Look at this right here in verse number 7:11. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language. God is being referred to right here in the plural. Let us go down in chapter 11. That is the last place in Genesis or in the Bible that God is referred to in the plural. Chapter 1 through 11 Genesis is not a full-on monotheism yet. It references at various times Lord, or Lord God, or let us, or sons of God. We even have a let us, let's see, creation story number 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish in the sea. That is not a monotheism. That's a polytheism. This is coexisting with Babylonian works. It's morphing, but it hasn't completely morphed yet. In fact, I got to be careful I don't stray. That's not what this video is about. I'm going to stay on course here, and let's just go talk about the Tower of Babel, those 9 verses. But for anybody else, the Bible, Genesis, multiple authors, multiple times, and I can do a video on that showing how Genesis really aligns with the Babylonian creation epic, the Enuma Elish. Okay, back to Babel. Okay, first I'm just going to read through it and then talk about it a little bit. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, let's make bricks and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, let's go build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach to heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, behold, the people are one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Let's go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of the earth, and from there did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. Okay, so obviously we have to look at what the reason for that story is. You're creating a religion, and you're leaving Babylonian behind. We got Babylonians and Jews at some point in time coexisting with material here. Maybe, I don't know how proximal, but they're definitely sharing material. The Babylonian, however, is being left behind, and Judaism is morphing on. We're going from a polytheism to a monotheism, and from idols and things that you can see to something so far away you can no longer examine it. So there's this natural progression, evolution of what God is till it's untouchable. And that's what we're seeing happen in the transitioning going right here. And some of it is captured in the first part of Genesis, where those references to God being plural are left in. Okay, at any rate, what they're doing right here is what? God made people from Adam and Eve, one person, 2 people. How, from there, If you look around, you go, I see so many languages, so many colors, so many different people. How do you explain Genesis if that happened? Bingo. You just did it right there. Well, we just magically poof. That's why everybody's different. That's why there are different colors, different races, different languages and things like that because of the Tower of Babel. But you read it and what does it say? Everybody was this is really goofy. Think about this. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. So here's all the people on the earth, happy, language, all working together. They have nothing to do, or what they want to do is they want to talk to God. They want to be with God. They want to build a tower, a city and a tower whose top may reach up into heaven. God didn't want that happen, so God punishes them by scattering them abroad and turning them into different races and languages and things like that. Yeah, that's a desert dweller story right there, isn't it? Okay. What the hell? All right, so God scattered them abroad and blah, blah, blah. All right, now what is going on here, though, is there's something happening in the story. It's not here simply for that. They're going to follow a pattern no matter what story they put up here. There is something in here that is actually recycling already from something that happened in chapter 6. Something happened in chapter 6 that is now recycling here. However, we need to understand how to read the stories, how to interpret the story. All right. What I'm going to contend is that if you utilize a certain procedure that I've just practiced and experimented with for many years, that this is how the consistency and interpretation comes about. That this entire story and all of the pieces and parts play out in your mind. That it's a part of you. As you read this story, you look at that and go, let me pull it back up here. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. Okay, right there, the whole earth is my earth, my life, my existence. This is early on. One language, one speech. I am not divided. My earth, my experience is me itself. This is analogously and metaphorically representative of the same location in the first life template, Adam and Eve, conscious, subconscious, naked, unashamed in the garden, uncovered from any life experiences prior to first sin, uncovered. And here we have all the world is of one speech. Those are analogously the same place. They're us. I'm happy, but what happens? I go on and live life. And it came to pass, they journeyed from the east to a land they found in a plan in the land of Shinar. Do you know what happened when Cain left east of Eden? Here we have east Shinar, east Eden. Left the Lord. There's going to be patterns emerging in here. The east is a bad direction to go. The land of Shinar is a transitional place. My numbering pattern. Let's see here. There we have it. Division 4, preparation. And why would I say that? Let's see. Shinar. Shinar is repeated exactly 4 times in Genesis, so it has that weight. It is a transitional place. This is us then starting off in life pure. Then we're going to go off and live life just having an experience. The land of Shinar, unaware. We're going to go off to an unaware place. And we're going to try to find answers. We're going to make a building, a tower that may reach heaven. And what's happening is, in this case, is we are creating our own life. The city and the tower is analogous to our bundle of memories, what we live through. This tower is what we're living through, and this tower is what we're building. But what is it? We're unaware of it. We're just actually living life, unaware of that, building who and what we are, judging life, not realizing we are accumulating a lot of things and beginning to live through them. We are becoming the Tower of Babel. What happens, though, in the end, we've become scattered. Look at yourself now, from the time you were pure and your building was there to now, when you've been scattered and you look at yourself and now there's so much internal conflict. I worry about this. I worry about that. I've got this. I've got that. So that's what's really nested into the story. And where it's repeating from is when the world was bad in Genesis, just before the first when Noah was called. Just before Noah was called, it was because the earth was bad. That's when God's sons had come down and defiled the beautiful daughters of men. That represents the idea that life experiences have defiled our inner qualities, our joys, our trust, our sense of wonder, all that kind of stuff. Now we feel shame, hate, distrust, we're paranoid. All kinds of things have happened, and we don't live life feeling good anymore. So that place where the earth was bad and it needed to be destroyed, right here we've got ourselves in the story again. That's where it's recycling. The earth, the city, this is us. The city, instead of destroying the earth, which represents our earth experience, we have destroyed Babel, which represents the same thing, except they're just saying instead of an earth, we're going to call it a city and something else. I do need to make an important distinction here, is that when the earth was bad and when Babel is scattered here, it's the same. When the flood happens, it was a purification. So this doesn't have the purification in it. This is just to leave the past behind. So they're writing it in such a way that they're leaving. If you don't understand what this means, it means, we're leaving Babel. Babel is the bad place. It's destroyed. The ziggurats, all that stuff you see out there, that's from them. That's what happened, and that explains our existence out here and why things are so different. And people would go, oh, okay. But if you look at the template, you go, that's a part right there that says when you were pure, you were young, you lived life, you had experiences, and now you've become scattered, and it stops right there. So the template is a very short piece right there, just showing how we go bad. We're all living on this template in some stage. You can call it a field. You can call it your empire. And many terms like that can be used to describe this is your place up here. It's yours. It's your mind. It's your experience. And the people and the things in here, they're all a part of it. All those people in the end, all those different variations you look around the world and say, okay, I see that happening. But what it's holding is the idea that you have become multifaceted like that. You are the one that is now divided. And that's the real reason the story is there in the background. And it's cycling, running a track. What happens next? We have a lineage, and then we have an analog farm where numbers are gathered. Those numbers that I'm using, yeah, you see those. Let's go take a look. These were my numbers here, yeah. We're going to see if we go back to Genesis here and right after that story, we're going to see where we're gathering up those numbers again. Look here, we've got our 5 and our 30 and our 3 and our 30 and our 3 and our 30 and our 30 and our 9 and our 7s and our 30s and our 30s. All of these we continue to gather up, 9 and 20. People might question what are what about that 900? (900) being repeated 7 times makes it a surrogate for a 7. So this is actually a 7 and a 30 occurring together. This is a 7 and a 12 occurring together. This is a 7 and a 5, etc. You have to work through the code. We don't have these memorized. We don't know them deep enough. 800. 7 times, same thing's happening. Look at 7 and 7, 7 and 15. We just gather up these numbers, 7 and 30. That's why you have to look at the King James Version. You got some variations in here, stuff that's backwards even sometimes that kind of gives you a clue that something's awry. Anyway, okay, so the numbers are gathered from there, and everything in Abrahamic material fits that numbering criteria. Okay, what I've discovered through analysis that numbering system is good for exactly what I showed you so far. Shinar, remember that was exactly 4 times, so that's transitional. We know that to be on that list. It's a big process to collect these. We can't do it in a video. They made a tower. 3 times. That's the beginning of the 3-7 grid. What would you want a tower for? The tower is good, and the pure tower was what we actually wanted. The scattering is where things went bad. Sometimes I think of things in editing that I just have to put in. I can think of one other pattern like this out there. Atlantis. Atlantis, if you read that, you'll see that it's a monomyth that does the same thing. It starts out growing into the structure. It's like like the trilogy, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, the conscious, the subconscious, the inner self. We've got the three structures of the city, with the inner sanctum being the holy area. And I don't remember the detail there, but what happens, it gets corrupted, it gets full of itself, and it sinks to the bottom of the sea, but it doesn't come back. What do we have right here? We've got a tower that's become corrupt, and it's been destroyed and scattered off, and that's the end of the story. Yeah. Atlantis is, wow, the closest thing I can find to Babel. All right, well, this one's a pretty simple one. 9 verses, I'll leave it at that. I sometimes there's just not a lot of detail into it. This one is primarily there. It looks like, you know what, we have to make a separation. We have to explain things. We're telling people there's one source. How come they can look around and go, I don't see that? We got to create some way to explain what's really there. Bingo, you got it. Just resolves all of the evolutionary variations for millions of years, doesn't it? Yeah, we got that covered right here in a Babel story. But and that's good for certain minds that are going to just believe that. When you're looking for other answers, though, you're looking and seeing that somebody is utilizing this human life template, and they're maintaining the stories flipped outward in such a way that if you read that and you know what to do with it, you know it's you. You know I am that I am. I am that tower. What do we have to destroy? We have to destroy the world. Then Babel gets destroyed. Then Sodom gets destroyed, and Gomorrah. And we're going to have to destroy Jericho. This is, when you're reading the religious story of myth, this is where they're replacing it with destroying ogres or, defeating hydras or things like that. They've got something supernatural going on nevertheless. Religious stories, when they become historical, they're very easy to do, and they're not historical. like the Jericho story, for example. When you see that it's a monomyth, you realize it's not a historical story. What it is a story built on a common template pattern, and Jericho had already been sacked. Let's use that right there. We need to destroy this. Jericho represents your inner self that needs to be destroyed. So they didn't go do that. What they did is they used it because it was already there. Finding Jericho sacked does not prove that the story is true. It proves that they are writing monomyth at that time, that they know what they're doing, and they're utilizing things from their environment to continue on a common process. And let me just show you that real quick. You have to know the monomyth a little bit. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to the Lord, unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, there's a calling right there. It starts with a calling. Time for you to go. There's a couple of things happening here in my numbering pattern that I know of. In verse 3, there's going to be some repeats of 3s and 7s. And in 7, there's going to be some of the same stuff. 7, 3, 3. These are repeated those times. There's something encoded going on. Then we're going to get into supernatural aid. The book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, and that you may observe to do all that is written therein, for then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. This is going to be how to heal yourself. The book of the law is that right there. If we compared, all right, Ezekiel, we're looking for the same things here. The word of the Lord came expressly to the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans. This is a much bigger story, so it's going to have a lot more detail up front. But right here is the calling. And what do we have? Our acknowledgments here between 3. The hand of the Lord is repeated 7 times throughout this book of Ezekiel. And that's going to be right there in 3. 7, 3 is going to be maintained. Here we have 7. We have feet, feet, and feet. Were repeated 3 times. Soul is 7, soul, yeah. Okay, so all of those are always encoded into the story. What do we get down here now? We have, let me find the spot. I said this one's bigger, so it's not all compressed. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent to me, and a roll of a book was therein, so that there's a scroll. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written there within. This is you, remember. Lamentations and mourning and woe. It's my life. What do I have to do? Got to face it. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, eat this roll, and go speak to the house of Israel. The house of Israel is your inner self that is gone corrupt. And son of man is what? That means product of life experience. You're son of man. I am a result of viewing life. That means that unaware of that I was judging things and becoming a product of those memories. That's exactly what's happened. So I am the son of man. I am the one who is a product of man, not the one who sits back and goes, oh, I see man as a product of cause and effect, and they've got some big jumbling, roiling thing that I want to separate out from. Then you become the son of God. But down here, we're the son of man. And son of God won't happen until the New Testament, though. There is no son of God in the Old Testament. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. So there's our supernatural aid. The other one said, here are these words. Don't let them depart from your mouth. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Did we cover the river crossing? Where were we? The King Jehoiah by the river Chebar. So there we have it. Calling by the river, supernatural aid. You see, if you dig into it, there are going to get significantly bigger than that. So, but those are the common things there. And then you look and you realize, okay, that's why that's how the stories are made. They're not historical. They're made from historical items. However, Christianity robs. Well, Abraham, all religions rob from the environment. What do they? They have to. In order to claim the world exists because of your God, you have to claim that everything is yours, don't you? Somehow. Yeah, that's a weird thing. Anyway, think of it like this. If you wanted to write your own story, utilizing the same techniques, you could have your own river crossing. I live by a big river down here that over time has had, old bridges that were put in that over time they were substandard. So they've just got abandoned and, new places, new highways, things are put in. So there's places where there's pilings out there of old bridges or something. You could write a story saying, right, using that spot right there, saying we crossed right here. And then afterwards it was blown up behind us or something like that. The hand of God crashed it down. And later somebody would come by and go, look it, the pilings are there. The story's real. How easy is it to get around that? But anyway, okay, so that's it here. That's my thoughts on this with respect to Genesis. The more you study it, the more you look at it, the more it reveals itself. But you have to know more than what a scholar knows or what a religious person knows. They don't look into it this way, and they're very specifically looking at this thinking that it's true, and their focus is to try and explain how it's true instead of sitting back going, and the atheist is looking at that going, dude, no way. Come on, man. That's what they're doing. Meanwhile, you sit back and go, nope, there's a human life template in there, guys. There's a pathway out. Are you a person that can find it, can see it? It's in the patterns, but then you have to analyze it. They also had all day long and all life long to live through it. We got maybe an afternoon a week. We're not going to get there. It's too hard. I have focused and focused. I cannot tell you how many thousands and thousands of hours I have into this study and research. Number crunching, seeing what's going on, using the computer to find all this stuff and realizing we don't know it well enough. If we had it memorized, we could say things like, Sarai's name? Repeated exactly 17 times, which was collected as one of the numbers. It was the 17th day that the ark rested. And it was, I see how the numbers are starting to flow together into a matrix that we collect them up. And those 22 numbers are repeated in excess of 6,000 times in the Bible. And they're rolling along on a template that we can examine deeper. But it's tough anyway. All right, well, that's it. I'm going to go on about this video, get into the boring stuff. Nobody knows it well enough. Yeah, okay. See you in the next video.